So we're going to talk a little bit today about HR and kind of extending that expertise. Now, cognitive computing. Oh my goodness, we have so much to talk about. Literally 15 minutes is not enough. But hopefully I can whet your appetite a bit so that we can actually jump into advancing your skill set. And I will tell you the best place to go is exactly where your kids go. I don't know how many of you have teenagers. My kids learn everything from YouTube. I have now spent a lot of time on YouTube when I'm getting ready in the mornings. I stick on a few of my favorite authors because they all tend to have YouTube channels and really, listen in on what's going on in the world and kind of keep up to date with those podcasts. So we're going to talk definitely about HR. I'm going to get into a little bit of AI, definitely talk a little bit about blockchain, try to make as much of this plain and simple. I did write the book for attorneys that are used in many of the law schools called eDiscovery, Plain and Simple. I am working on blockchain, plain and simple, and also AI, plain and simple, so that you guys can get all up to date and not be overwhelmed. Because I will tell you, the attorneys I've worked with and consulted with for the years, when their heads would go really fast, I would know that they did not know what they were talking about. And I've been getting the same thing with blockchain in various different types of roles, and I think I've got the answer finally. I was at the White House last week working with the staff, and I finally came up with, I think the analogy we'll go through here in a few minutes, to get you guys understanding blockchain, and by the way, it's not cryptocurrency. It's kind of fun. Okay, so we're going to talk a little bit about Joe. So meet Joe. He's a new employee. He has no idea where to find information on the job. I remember my first day at IBM. I had come from what I thought was a pretty large company of about 10,000 people. I walked into a company of 500,000 people. I had no clue what I was doing. I didn't know where to find the information. I didn't know if there was any resources. God help me if I could find an HR rep. I hate to say that, but we had 50,000 of them, and I still don't even know who mine is. That's assigned to me even today. But the wonderful thing is as being an IBMer, I have Watson. So today, without Watson, though, we try to find help by talking to your neighbors. Sometimes that information is actually super terrible. Plus, you end up hearing all the gossip that you really should not know as a new employee. Asking your manager, who's always getting ready and who's way too busy, typically, to help the person. Calling HR, that for me was non-existent because I don't even know the number. I still don't think I do. Searching the company intranet. We have a company intranet that is massive, if you can imagine, 500,000 employees' information on it. Just huge. So I remember feeling in the beginning, and this is, of course, 6 years ago, when I started IBM, I was lost, definitely frustrated. With adding cognitive computing, we, of course, at IBM have Watson. There's other great companies out there. Google has Google Assist. We have Alexa. How many of you guys play with Alexa each morning? Siri, I wake up with her, I go to bed with her. She definitely wakes me up in the morning, although I wish she could wake up my 12-year-old. He has it to this point where even though Alexa or Siri's trying to wake him up, he sleeps through it. I think it's an age thing. But what if Joe had been welcomed with new hire information on this mobile app? Super helpful. What if Joe could have a cognitive chat with a real chatbot that actually responded well? How many of you heard the news this week that Google Assist had a full conversation and was able to order pizza, and then also was able to do restaurant reservations sounding just like a human being. So it's absolutely amazing the advancements that have been made. Received personalized learning suggestions. That's one of the most wonderful things I love about cognitive, is having a system that tells me, hey, you seem to be interested in this, or this will help advance your career. Here's the next 3 courses that you should take. Provides the names of the people you can connect with, those mentors who would be good for you. So in a cognitive organization, Joe feels connected. He's excited that he made the right decision because it's comfy, it's not frustrating, it's new. He has the tools and connections that he needs to succeed. Most of the time I'm speaking to groups of attorneys, and they're terrified most of the time as to that lawyers are going to take over their jobs. Now, for some of you, that may be a really fun thing that you're going to get to do as AI replaces some of the jobs in your companies. Others, you'll try to figure out how the AI can actually augment your employees. So we start to see AI coming into play. Demands to the ever-meeting talent needs, we'll talk about that here in just a moment. The changing workforce demographics AI is going to be able to do, and does today, a lot of the different tasks that we have been doing that have been pains in our sides. So for example, for my attorneys that work with us, one of the pains in their sides is having to review invoices. It's an ethical obligation for them as part of their bar membership that they actually review those invoices and make sure they're correct before they go out. It would take for them as part of their bar counsel said that she would spend over a day a week reviewing invoices. Now with the cognitive solutions, so Watson reads her invoices for her and then assists her with reviewing them. She's done in less than an hour. Very, very quick, huge time saver, and it's because it's a repeatable process the AI can augment the human with. So onslaught of new technology and data, we start to see globalization and virtualization. How many of you work for global companies? Yeah, it is an absolutely amazing thing to see. Some of the things that are coming in from China, things that are coming in, from overseas that are mind-blowing as some of the advancements that they have. Continued cost pressures, and then of course the contingent workforce. Now a cognitive system, if you really think about it, it enables a few things. So it understands, it reasons, and it learns. It's not software that you actually are going to be picking up off the shelf. It's software that you actually start training. And so I've got a judge, for example, who is out of Ohio. He works with young people, so he's continually having them come through his courtroom. Often they've broken probation, they have new medical issues, they have family issues that have come up. He says he typically, when they come through his courtroom, each juvenile, he has about 600 pages on. He has taught Watson what he's looking for in all of that data. Watson then provides to him a 2-page summary of what's going on with the juvenile. He says it saves him 1 day a week, and on top of that, he's able to spend 5 to 6 minutes more per juvenile in his courtroom. Huge help. He can give better direction because he's typically looking for the same thing over and over again. So I have some really good statistics here that we'll definitely share. We'll definitely share this presentation. But global leaders and how cognitive computing will impact HR over the next 3 years. We're starting to see that 66% of those CEOs surveyed recognize that cognitive will drive significant value in HR. So how many of you are doing anything with AI yet within your companies? Oh, not too many yet. I would say New York, Chicago, I'm getting a lot more hands raised. It will be coming here, and honestly, you may already be using it. Over 1 billion people worldwide this year will use Watson, our IBM solution. If you used H&R Block for your taxes, use Watson. And so Watson and Alexa, Google Assist, Einstein for Salesforce. You have a lot of different AI solutions out there that are affecting your day-to-day job that you may not even know, really helping things continue to move forward. So 55% of HR executives believe cognitive will be a disruptive force in the next 3 years. So Bill Gates himself said a few weeks ago that in the next 10 years, we will have more advancements in technology than we have had since the dawn of mankind. So in all those years since mankind came to be, he believes that technology will advance so much in the next 10 years that it will just be, this is just a huge, huge disruption. Some of the things that we can talk a little bit later about that they're developing are just mind-blowing. I saw freeze-dried plasma a couple months ago. I about fell over. I saw a suit that was actually here in Tampa, a suit where I could stand on the stage and pretty much pick up, I don't even know what's the heaviest thing in this room, but I myself having this suit on, like Iron Man, could pick up anything and be able to throw it across the room. Just amazing, amazing advancements. So HR executives outperforming organizations. So the outperforming organizations, those that are the top of the heap, they are aware of the value of cognitive by about twice what the other companies are doing out there. And so some of you may be, I think we had a few hands up in the audience, and I think some of you may be with those companies. If you aren't today, I would say get to know as much as you can, because I promise you this disruption will happen for you within the next 18 to 24 months. So organizations, are employees ready to embrace cognitive? And I think what we're seeing today is they are. But we have to be careful as to how we bring them into the AI solutions. So we start to look at the approach, the analysis, and of course, kind of questioning, does AI work for the different problems to solve within HR? So some of the HR scenarios that I have seen that have worked, we've worked with clients in IBM. So we look at buying extra, so buying extra things and vacation. So does the employee need these extra things? And then also vacation time. AI does a beautiful job with that. And then being able to manage the employees and also the employees coming in. Look at my time. Okay. Personal coaching of the voice analyzer part of artificial intelligence is awesome for that. So we start to look at it in learning. Also team training and candidate selection is another great area. Here's a few things on the sweet spot. So talent acquisition is probably one of the first areas we're seeing it in. A lot of AI is coming into place in talent acquisitions. 46% of HR execs believe that cognitive technology will transform their talent acquisition. And so we're starting to see those who are the top of the heap definitely pulling in AI solutions to make sure that they can do that talent acquisition. And it's kind of interesting applying for jobs out there, and I'm sure if any of you have done that recently, to see the questions that come up and then them recommending other jobs for you. Often those are AI solutions doing that. I wanted to take a moment, one of the big disruptive technologies out there beyond artificial intelligence, I think the first one you all will run into is going to be artificial intelligence. And if you haven't yet, it's coming. The next one is blockchain. How many of you have heard of blockchain? Okay, cryptocurrency. Probably everybody in the room. Bitcoin. And is anyone mining Bitcoin? No, you are, okay. We should talk later. So, the underlying technology of cryptocurrency is what is the most exciting thing out there. Now, we are able to actually manage our data and have an organized data set that then AI can use and read through. So the reason I have this lovely apple here is to give you an explanation of blockchain. Does anyone here really feel like you understand blockchain? Probably no. Maybe a couple. I think the gentleman who's going to be speaking later definitely does. I was in a room at the White House this last week, and there was only 5 of 250 of our leaders in the entire area, and only 5 knew and understood blockchain. So here's my simple example, because everyone else typically tends to confuse us. We have this apple. Now, usually we have a scan code on the side of the apple that you have to kind of dig off with your fingernails, which is really annoying. But that scan code right now, let's see, it tells us what the price is of the apple, also tells us what store we bought it from, but that's about it. Now, what if this apple had been on a shipping container in the middle of, maybe it came in from the Middle East. We have no clue where this apple came from, but let's say that the shipping container was contaminated. Is there any way right now that you would ever know that this apple was on that ship? No. With blockchain, you will know. You will know from the farm, from the tree, from where it came from, where this apple came from. There is technology out there right now that can actually identify, just like they identify faces, it can identify objects. It can identify the fruit, know where the fruit came from, know what tree it came from. Let's say it went from there to 2 trucks. Then from those 2 trucks, it went on a ship, then it got transferred over to another ship. It was on a container, it was in a container, there were, apples, there was, let's say, fish, there was lots of crazy stuff on that ship. Something got contaminated. You would have no clue now that you were about to eat something that was going to make you very sick and possibly kill you. We will know in the future with blockchain exactly where it came from and how it got to you.